Hello and welcome live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Gautam Roy, and coming up in the next 30 minutes, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be attending the 4th Quad Summit and the UN Summit of the Future during his upcoming US visit. Anti-terror financing global watchdog FATF says India has taken significant steps to implement measures to tackle illicit finance. Lebanon says the death toll in Wednesday's walkie-talkie blast has risen to 25. Japanese company making the two-way radio says the ones that exploded may not be genuine. And an unbeaten ton by Ashwin and a record 7th wicket partnership with Ravindra Jadeja puts India on top on day 1 of the Chennai Test versus Bangladesh. A day after the first phase of the Jammu and Kashmir Assembly election saw record voter turnout, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that high voter turnout in the first phase shows rejection of parties which support stone pelting and terrorism. Addressing a public rallies in Srinagar and Katra, the Prime Minister highlighted that the youth of Jammu and Kashmir have regained confidence in democracy and believe their votes can drive change, marking a crucial step towards their empowerment. He said the people in Kashmir have full faith in Modi's guarantee of a safe and prosperous J&K.
अब यहाँ का हमारा नौजवान इनको चैलेंज कर रहा है। जिन नौजवानों को इन्होंने आगे नहीं बढ़ने दिया, वही नौजवान इनके खिलाफ मैदान में उतर आए हैं। साथियों, इन 3 खानदानों के राज में जम्मू कश्मीर के नौजवानों ने जो भोगा है, जो तकलीफ सही है, वो अक्सर बाहर नहीं आ पाता। आज वादी का जो नौजवान 20, 25, 30 साल का है, उनमें से कई पढ़ाई लिखाई से महरूम रह गए। ये इसलिए नहीं हुआ कि जम्मू कश्मीर के हमारे नौजवान फेल हुए, बल्कि ये इसलिए हुआ क्योंकि कांग्रेस, एनसी और पीडीपी के 3 खानदान फेल हुए थे।
While in Katra, Prime Minister Modi asserted that the government will not let Pakistan's agenda be imposed in the Union territory. He added that no power in the world can bring back Article 370 in J&K.
कांग्रेस नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस को लेकर जम्मू कश्मीर में भले ही उत्साह न हो, लेकिन पड़ोसी देश इन्हें लेकर बहुत उत्साह में है। यहां तो उनको कोई पूछने वाला नहीं है, लेकिन वहां पूछा जा रहा है। पाकिस्तान में कांग्रेस नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस के अलायंस की बल्ले बल्ले हो रही है। पाकिस्तान में इनके मैनिफेस्टो, इनके घोषणा पत्र से पाकिस्तान बहुत खुश नजर आ रहा है। पाकिस्तान के डिफेंस मिनिस्टर ने कांग्रेस नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस का खुलकर समर्थन किया है। पाकिस्तान से उनका कहना है कि आर्टिकल 370 और 35A को लेकर कांग्रेस और एनसी का एजेंडा वही है जो पाकिस्तान का एजेंडा है। ये वहां के मंत्री बोल रहे हैं। यानी कांग्रेस नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस की पोल खुद पाकिस्तान ने खोल दी है।
Jammu and Kashmir is voting for its 90-member assembly in 3 phases. The first phase of voting was held yesterday, which saw around 61% voter turnout, and the other 2 rounds will be held on the 25th of this month and the 1st of the next. Counting will take place on the 8th of October. Now, President Draupadi Murmu visited Ujjain today on the second day of her Madhya Pradesh visit. The President distributed certificates to Swachhata Mitras. She interacted with the Safai Mitras and attended the Safai Mitra Sammelan. After visiting the Sri Mahakaleshwar temple, she did Shramdan in the temple premises under the Swachhata Hi Seva Pakhwada. In the last leg of her MP visit, the President attended the convocation ceremony of Devi Ahilya Vishwavidyalaya in Indore. India has achieved a high level of technical compliance across the FATF recommendations and has taken significant steps to implement measures to tackle illicit finance. The Financial Action Task Force, the FATF that is, today released India's mutual evaluation report on combating terror financing and anti-money laundering regime. It says that India has implemented an anti-money laundering and counter-terrorist financing framework that is achieving good results. Authorities make good use of financial intelligence and cooperate effectively, both domestically and internationally. Also, India has made significant steps in financial inclusion, more than doubling the proportion of the population with bank accounts, encouraging greater reliance on digital payment systems, and making use of simplified due diligence for small accounts. India has also achieved positive results in international cooperation, asset recovery, and implementing targeted financial sanctions for proliferating financing. The Indian Army has signed a memorandum of understanding with Tiranga Mountain Rescue in Delhi. This understanding marks a pivotal step in advancing the Indian Army's rescue and survival operations in mountainous terrains. The MOU stipulates that TMR will collaborate with the Indian Army in conducting customized training programs for Army instructors aimed at improving their ability to mentor troops in avalanche rescue and survival skills. Lieutenant General T.K. Aich, the Deputy Chief of Army, lauded the TMR team, saying that it has done yeoman service in saving numerous lives by providing unwavering support in training and rescue efforts in the last 9 years.
TMR has deployed a total of 15 teams with 11 teams in Northern Command from Pir Panjal to Siachen Glacier and 2 teams in North Sikkim and Tawang in Eastern Command, and in the coming winters 2 teams will be deployed in Malari and Gunji sectors in Central Command. TMR teams are equipped with modern equipment, the RECO radars, for search and rescue. In addition to their primary role as first responders.
In a significant boost for the media and entertainment sector, the Union Cabinet, led by Prime Minister Modi, has approved the establishment of the National Centre of Excellence for Animation, Visual Effects, Gaming, Comics and Extended Reality, or AVGC-XR, on Wednesday. This initiative, which was announced during the 2022-23 budget, aims to foster innovation and skill development in a rapidly evolving industry. The AVGC-XR sector is becoming increasingly crucial, impacting areas from filmmaking to education and healthcare, all while benefiting from India's affordable internet access and booming digital landscape. Industry bodies like the FICCI and companies associated with the sector have hailed the Cabinet's decision. Listen in.
Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, along with his cabinet, has approved the National Centre of Excellence for AVGC-XR. This is going to be a landmark decision for the complete creative and technical education for entertainment and content creation in India. All artists and all technicians and artisans from all over India are going to relish the benefits of the National Centre of Excellence for AVGC-XR. It has created a platform for us to create Indian IP and spread it globally.
National Centre of Excellence for AVGC and XR को फाइनली कैप डोंट अप्रूवल मिल चुकी है और मेरा ये मानना है कि बहुत बड़ा स्टेप है पूरी इंडस्ट्री के लिए और मुझे लग रहा है कि आई थिंक वंस दिस इंस्टीट्यूशन एक बार फुली फंक्शनल हो जाती है तो पूरी क्रिएटर इकोनॉमी को एंड क्रिएट इन इंडिया मूवमेंट को एक बहुत ही बड़ा पुश मिलेगा.
Now, the second wave of explosions from wireless communication devices rocked Lebanon on Wednesday, this time in walkie-talkies, killing 25 people and wounding over 608 others. A source close to Hezbollah said walkie-talkies used by its members blew up in its Beirut stronghold, with state media reporting similar blasts in South and East Lebanon. On Thursday, Lebanese authorities banned walkie-talkies and pagers from being taken on flights from Beirut airport after a deadly attack on the Hezbollah. The Lebanese Civilian Aviation Directorate asked airlines operating from Beirut to inform passengers that walkie-talkies and pagers are banned until further notice. Now, at least 37 people have been killed and more than 3,000 wounded when pagers and walkie-talkies used by Hezbollah members exploded in two waves of attacks on Tuesday and Wednesday. Hezbollah and Israel have been trading fire across the Lebanese-Israeli border for almost a year in a conflict triggered by the Gaza war. While Israeli officials have not commented, security sources claim Israel's spy agency Mossad is behind the attacks. A Hezbollah official described the incident as the group's biggest security breach in its history. An Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant said during a visit to an airbase that the nation is at the start of a new phase of war and that the center of gravity is moving northwards. Meanwhile, Israeli security services said that they had arrested an Israeli citizen on suspicion of involvement in an Iranian-backed assassination plot targeting prominent people, including Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. A statement on Thursday said the person was a businessman with connections in Turkey and was arrested last month. He had attended at least 2 meetings in Iran to discuss the possibility of assassinating Prime Minister Netanyahu, Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, or the head of the Shin Bet Domestic Intelligence Agency. Shin Bet said that the latest arrest showed the efforts Iran has been making to recruit Israelis to gather intelligence and carry out terrorist missions in Israel, including by using individuals with criminal backgrounds. Meanwhile, the Japanese manufacturer of the walkie-talkies linked to explosions targeting Hezbollah, which killed 25 people and injured hundreds in Lebanon, denied any involvement. Yoshiki Enomoto, a director of ICOM, stated that there is no way a bomb could have been integrated into our devices during manufacturing. The handheld radios used by Hezbollah exploded on Wednesday in Beirut suburbs and the Bekaa Valley, following a similar incident on Tuesday with electronic pagers that left 12 dead, including 2 children, and injured 3,000. Now, the internet is a billion-dollar business, but when it comes to the EU, that number doesn't apply just to revenue, but also to fines. The bloc is regularly punishing likes of Google, Meta and others for not complying with strict regulations there. Lars Holter is with Deutsche Welle and joins me from Berlin for more on this. So, how are you and could you tell us about whether it's all clear for Google with the EU now?
From 2019, actually, that was just one of the cases the company has and had in Brussels. Another one was just decided last week, and it's even more expensive for Google. Last week, the courts backed a fine levied by antitrust regulators 7 years ago. Google has to pay 2.5 billion euros as a fine for various anti-competitive practices. The European Commission says that the company has used its own price comparison shopping service to gain an unfair advantage over smaller European rivals. All in all, Google has racked up over 8 billion euros in EU antitrust fines in the last decade. Some are connected to the company's Android mobile operating system. Others include, of course, the AdSense case that I just talked about. Generally, it seems Google will always have some business in EU courts.
But Lars, Google is not the only company in the sector. How are tech giants generally coping with the EU's stricter rules?
they're having a really hard time, especially since Brussels has over the past couple of years come up with a variety of laws to regulate the online marketplace. And some of those rules are very hard to comply with. Sometimes it's just about privacy protection and the question whether a company can store EU customers' data on servers outside the EU. Now, many servers for Alphabet, but also Meta, Amazon, Apple, and some others are obviously located in the US. A group of companies, including Meta and Spotify, has just actually addressed these problems in an open letter, blasting the EU for its, quote, fragmented and inconsistent decision-making on data privacy and artificial intelligence. They are even saying that Europe is becoming less competitive and risks falling further behind in the age of AI.
Now, Germany is set to approve close to 400 million euros in additional military aid for Ukraine. The funds are in addition to around 8 billion euros budgeted for Ukraine in 2024. Germany is Ukraine's biggest supporter in Europe in terms of military aid. Ukraine has been backed by arms from its allies, but is worried that support may drop as the war grinds on. Following a request by the Defense Ministry, the Finance Ministry in the letter is asking for approval of the extra expenditure from the Budget Committee of the lower house of Parliament. And still to come on DD India Live. Former owner of luxury department store Harrods, Mohammed Al Fayed, is accused of raping and sexually abusing former women employees in a documentary. And R. Ashwin registers his 6th Test 100 and first against Bangladesh during the first Test match in Chennai.
We are looking at new and emerging dimensions in India's most important strategic partnership with the United States.
From Washington's standpoint, India, I would say, is a rising part of our economic portfolio looking globally. It's now one of our 10 largest trading partners. And again, if any company has got offshore R&D and IT, it's probably coming first to places like Bangalore and Hyderabad. What we've seen just in the last couple of years is a shift away from transfer of technology, of selling things to India, and of exercises, which are all great and they're fundamental, but we are now moving actively into interoperability.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Gautam Roy. Mohammed Al Fayed, former owner of luxury department store Harrods, has been accused of raping and sexually abusing some of his former women employees. According to news reports, the documentary Al Fayed, Predator at Harrods, claimed that the billionaire raped 5 women and sexually abused at least 15 others when they worked at the luxury department store. Mohammed Al Fayed died last year, aged 94. He'd sold Harrods to Qatar's Sovereign Wealth Fund in 2010. The 7th Sharjah Investment Forum concluded on Thursday after 2 days of discussions on futuristic vision for smart economies. The event featured over 80 global speakers and more than 100 sessions, including keynotes, panels and workshops. A notable presence of Indian business leaders highlighted growing UAE-India economic ties. A key session on the UAE-India Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement emphasized enhanced market access and the strategic role of the UAE for Indian SMEs. The forum, organized by the Sharjah FDI office, covered finance, renewable energy, future technologies and digital era skills, reinforcing Sharjah's status as a prime investment destination. Now, let's talk about the US elections as well. For the first time since 1996, the International Brotherhood of Teamsters will not endorse any presidential candidate. Since the year 2000, Teamsters have endorsed every Democratic candidate for president, but on occasions have also endorsed Republicans. The union's executive board on Wednesday announced that it will not be making an endorsement. A poll of 1.3 million union members preferred Republican candidate Donald Trump over Democrat Kamala Harris by 59.6 to 34%. Trump expressed happiness over the poll and termed it a big thing.
They're not going to endorse the Democrats. That's a big thing. And this is the first time in, I guess, 50, 60 years that that's happened. Democrats automatically have the Teamsters. They took a vote, and I guess I was at 60% or more, and that's a great honor. I mean, it's really I've had a lot of Teamsters work for me, a lot of the concrete trucks. They built all these buildings that you see in New York City, the Teamsters, exclusively Teamsters, I have to say. They've done a great job. But the vote of the Teamsters themselves was very high for me, and the leadership, Sean O'Brien and the group, who are great people, they said we can't endorse the Democrats. So I think this is the first time in many decades that they haven't endorsed Democrats.
Let's now get you a look at other stories making news around the world. An early warning system for earthquakes in Mexico plays a crucial role as lifesaver. It can detect tremors and send alerts up to a minute in advance, giving residents some seconds to get to safer places before the earthquake hits. Due to its location along the Pacific Ring of Fire, the country is prone to seismic activity and had suffered worse losses during the 1985 quakes. Residents, local administration and Department of Conservation of New Zealand worked together to free a juvenile pygmy whale trapped at the Kawau Island. The whale was stuck and stayed patient throughout the rescue efforts. After being freed, the mammal swam towards deeper waters. The impact of climate change is very much visible all over the globe. The beekeeping industry in Tunisia has taken a hit as beehives are disappearing, causing a decline in honey production and a rise in the cost of beekeeping, affecting the livelihoods of the people. The 8th edition of India Water Week 2024 concluded in capital New Delhi after a week of insightful discussions on water sustainability and management. The event saw participation from international delegates representing several countries, along with representatives from 27 Indian states and union territories.
Of water resources, river development.
Key highlights of the events at 8th India Water Week included the Ministerial Plenary, Global Water Leaders Forum and the International Conference on Water, Sanitation and Hygiene or WASH. A special youth forum gave young leaders the opportunity to present their vision for a water-secure future. Exhibitions showcase innovative technologies designed to address water challenges.
हम सब मिलकर आने वाले दिनों में पूरे दुनिया में सबसे अच्छा पानी पे काम अगर कोई होगा जल प्रबंधन जल संचय का तो हमारा होगा। ये आपकी ताकत के आधार पे मैं कह सकता हूँ क्योंकि इतनी बड़ी संख्या में जब आप लोग यहाँ पर जुड़े हैं, आपको पानी की चिंता है, ये जल प्रबंधन के लिए आपने इन्हें 3 दिन तक टाइम दिया।
The event provided a platform for knowledge sharing and collaboration among policymakers, industry experts and innovators. Participants emphasized the need for sustainable water practices and international cooperation to tackle the growing global water crisis.
This year's theme, Partnerships and Cooperation for Inclusive Water Development and Management, has highlighted the critical importance of collaboration. During the event, we have seen inspiring examples of how shared responsibility and cross-sectoral partnerships can pave the way for innovative, sustainable and inclusive solutions to water management.
India Water Week 2024 has once again reaffirmed the nation's commitment to ensuring water security for future generations. Kriti Vadhera's report for DD India.
In sports, India's Ravichandran Ashwin smashed a rapid 100 and combined with Ravindra Jadeja in an epic rearguard action as the hosts overcame a top-order meltdown to reach 339 for 6 against Bangladesh on the opening day of the first test on Thursday. Opener Yashasvi Jaiswal made 56, but it was the marathon 195-run unbroken stand for the 7th wicket between Ashwin and Jadeja that helped India claw their way back into the contest. Ashwin slammed unbeaten 102 of 112 balls, which is his 6th test 100. Jadeja, batting on 86, was closing in on his 5th test 100 as well. For Bangladesh, Hassan Mahmood took 4 wickets. He dismissed Captain Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, Shubman Gill and Rishabh Pant. And that's all we have in this edition of DD India Live, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from DD India, from India and across the world, in fact, on DD India's mobile app. It's available on both iOS and Android platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download the app now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Gautam Roy from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.